Well, I'm talking about liquid. Rich enough to have your own jet. Rich enough not to waste time. Well, in my book, you either do it right or you get eliminated.
They're analysts. They don't know preferred stock from livestock, all right? The new law of evolution in corporate America seems to be survival of the unfittest.
Good evening, stock traders, and welcome to Stock Traders Talk Radio here on a beautiful Monday night, March the 5th, 2012. I am your host, STT. Joining me on tonight's program, I have QT Cal.
Hello there, STT.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you tonight?
I am fantastic.
Excellent.
Also joining me on tonight's program, I have Mr. Kopp.
Hey, what's going on there, Michael? How are you?
I am fantastic, sir. How about yourself?
Great. Enjoying the California weather. Life is good.
California weather. Must be
It's
nice. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Also joining us on tonight's program, Sifakia.
Aloha, STT. One more round.
Mahalo. Yes, the second round for us today.
That's right.
Fantastic stuff this morning. If you missed this morning's program, myself, Sifakia, Stock, Sumo, and Haas, we're capturing all the news that was coming out, what was hot on the boards on iHub, and what was moving. It was a fun little morning, an hour-and-a-half show. You can catch us every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We covered a lot this morning, that's for sure. Siffy, that was a fast hour-and-a-half, though, wasn't it?
Man, it didn't feel like an hour and a half, I'll tell you that. The boys definitely rocked the scanner today. I didn't have to say much. I just had to sit back and enjoy the ride because they nailed some winners.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they talked about the winners that people played all day long before anybody knew about them. So congrats, Haas. Sumo, you did a great job today. Mike, you too.
Thank you.
You had your part.
I did my best.
You did it.
Little out of my realm there, but I let the pros handle it. That's why I host the show. All I got to do is just pass it along. That's my job. Pass the ball, and then hand it off to somebody. That's all I have to do every single show. Just like I'm about to do now. Tonight, we have yet another stock spotlight for you. Doing tonight's stock spotlight is none other than QT Cal. QT, take it away.
Thanks so much, Mike. All right, tonight's stock spotlight, we're going to focus on Grid Petroleum Corp. The ticker symbol is GRPR. That's G as in Gary, R as in Robert, P as in Patty, and R as in Robert, GRPR. They're currently trading on the OTCQB, and the company is located in Denver, Colorado. We have an OS, outstanding share structure, of 168,442,781, and that was updated on January 4th, 2012. That's per OTCmarkets.com. We do not have the availability of the float or the authorized shares. Company overview. The company's focused on the development, exploration, and production of oil and gas in North America. And their primary focus is on oil and gas properties that have proven undeveloped reserves. So basically, these reserves are economically attractive but are underserved by major independent oil and gas companies. That's where they take advantage of this and go out and look at these properties. They currently have a 100% working interest in the 4 separate oil and gas leases located near the Jonah Field region. As we get more into in depth with the Jonah Field region, this is actually their premium property here. This region has an area of natural gas reserves, and it's within the greater Green River Basin, and that's located in the Rocky Mountains area of Wyoming. They also have another area that they're exploring, and they have 20% working interest in it, which equates to 14% net revenue interest to explore and develop 4,000 leased acres in the Coalinga, California area, and that's a oil and gas field. This is located in the California San Joaquin Basin, so it's Central California. It's labeled and called the Cryan-Hagen Trend acreage. Okay, so that's the second area that they're focusing on is the Cryan-Hagen Trend acreage. The plan is for them to drill out 4 wells for evaluation and testing. Their website is gridpetroleum.com, and we can get into more of, specifically of their properties. Now, I mentioned the 2, which is the Cryan-Hagen Trend and the Jonah prospects. And again, the Jonah prospects are that's the key right there. But they just got into a joint venture with a private company for Northwest Fremont. So if you go to gridpetroleum.com, you'll see under properties, that's the first one listed. Again, it's called Northwest Fremont. You can download the Northwest Fremont investment summary, and that is very current from February 2012. There's not much text on the actual page, but we'll get into that more when we look at the recent press releases, since this is the most recent acquisition for them, or JV, I should say, joint venture. Okay, the Cryan-Hagen Trend, which is the second one located under their properties. This one is, again, located in the San Joaquin Basin, Central California. It's an unconventional shale zone. So what's nice about this is it's accessible by vertical wells. It is a more profitable decline profile, and it's got lower initial production rates, but it's a much slower decline. They also have on their website two PowerPoint presentations to get more in depth with the Cryan-Hagen oil trend, and also they have a couple reports and PDF files that you can take a look at. The third one mentioned is the Jonah prospects. Now with the Jonah prospects, this is again their key asset. It's something that they have a 100% working interest in. If you look more in depth, it says that 2007 followed along similar lines, that it had several leases and approaching 4,000 acres of high-impact acreage and potential future spacing for 300 wells. The grid is solidly positioned in this historically highly productive, low-risk region. The adjacent Jonah Field and the Pinedale anticline are recognized as the foremost gas fields in the Rocky Mountains. This is the one that's located in the Rocky Mountains in Wyoming. It gives a location of the Greater Green River Basin. It contains approximately 26 TCF of natural gas, which is the largest reserve statewide. So that's pretty significant. The prolific Jonah Field is estimated to contain 8 to 15 TCF of natural gas, which currently produces from more than 500 wells. It's a world-class location, and it generally means that world-class neighbors, and that's why most of the surrounding acreage is currently held by big names, okay? Like we've got Encana, Yates Petroleum, BP, Chevron, Texaco. They're holding significant positions in the area. So you could see why this is something that they're definitely focused on, and it looks like it to be their primary focus, okay? Also, we have the management team, and there's a tab there that you can click on to see the management. We have Mr. Tim De Herrera, and he's the chairman. He's been appointed as chairman and is a member of the company's board of directors. So he's currently the president and director of an oil and gas exploration company. And prior to that, he was president and chairman of the board of directors of Future Quest Incorporated, and that is an oil and gas exploration company. He has extensive experience and knowledge of oil and gas industry, and will steer Grid Petroleum's corporate endeavors towards creating further shareholder value, and that's going to be through the exploration and development of key oil-focused properties. And I'm willing to bet that what we just went over in the key areas, or the key 3 properties, that's going to be probably the focus there with the company and also with Mr. De Herrera. We also have Mr. James Powell, and he is the president of Grid Petroleum. He's had an extensive career in commercial and residential real estate. He specialized in valuations and investment properties, and that was from September 2006 to present. He's been the owner of and operator of JP Commercial. That's a commercial real estate company located in San Diego, and it specializes in the sale and acquisition of investment properties. These properties include multifamily, retail, and commercial office buildings. From June 2002 through September 2006, he's also worked for C.B. Richard Ellis, Inc., also located in San Diego, California. The last person that they have listed on their management team is Mr. Steve Olson, and I believe they have him listed as Executive Vice President on OTCmarkets.com. And he has 34 years of experience in all phases of oil and gas industry. So, and that's including, but not limited to the field service, completion, production, and workover of all forms of oil and gas assets. Most recently, he has been the lead of the accomplished Olson Consulting Company of Oklahoma. And he spent the last several years working with Chesapeake Energy Corporation, developing the following shale formations: the Barnett Shale for 3.5 years, the Woodford Shale for 8 months, and the Fayette and Marcellus Shale, I believe that's in Pennsylvania, for approximately 6 months. He's also worked with other significant oil and gas production and exploration companies, including Schlumberger, and for over 9 years in the Permian Basin of Texas. So he brings a lot of experience and knowledge, and he's going to implement and develop the Grid Petroleum Corp's significant Monterey Shale holdings in the prolific San Joaquin Basin of Central California, and that is the one that we talked about. That's the Cryan-Hagen trend that we spoke of, and that's one of the 3 properties that they have specific interest in. Okay? So with that, I'd like to just kick over to the recent PRs of the company. And there's been a lot of activity over February, so I just want to get right into February's press releases. And on February 2nd, there was an announcement of the finalization of negotiations for their acquisition of a private holding company with oil and gas interest in a 5,000-acre tract of land, and that was located in Central Texas. Some of the key highlights of this PR is that there was an estimated reserve of 20 million barrels of oil, 15 billion cubic feet of natural gas, and they were also mentioning a pending update on some geological studies that they had done in the Cryan-Hagen trend also, and they were expecting those results at the end of February. So they had, this PR was twofold. It was to announce negotiations of this acquisition, and again, this was located in Central Texas. It gave the stats on some of the oil and gas reserves in this particular property or area, and then the updates on the Cryan-Hagen trend results. Okay, so that was for the press release that was on February 2nd. The next one was February 9th, and Grid Petroleum was a primary sponsor of a social media blog portal, and that was www.theoilandgasblog.com, and they were featured for the month of February. This specifically talks about this portal. It introduces potential investors specific to that oil and gas industry to the sponsor company profile, which happened to be Grid Petroleum Corp. So they wanted to showcase and give more visibility to Grid, which is nice, and they put that out there in a press release to, let people know and let shareholders know that their visibility level is, increasing, and they did that through being featured on this blog portal, which is, it falls along the lines in social media. The next PR was for February 21st, and it talks about Grid entering into the JV development agreement with a private holding company. So this was first announced on February 2nd. That was the first PR that I went over. And at first, it looked like it was going to be an acquisition for the company. But instead, on February 21st, they announced that they're going to do a JV development agreement with this private holding company. And this was to develop that mutual interest in what they then disclosed as the Northwest Fremont field in Jim Wells County, Texas. And we went over that property. That one is listed as the first one under their properties on their website. So we then see that this coming to fruition in a JV, and it talks about this Northwest Fremont field, and it covers 4,500 acres. The purpose is to create value and income by re-entering certain wells which have been tested and also proven to have oil and gas producing zones. So that was their primary interest there. Two specific wells that were mentioned in this PR and in regards to this particular property, which is, again, the Northwest Fremont, which is located in Texas, or Wells County, Texas. The two specific wells are Guerra number 2 and Garcia number 2. These two wells had both been tested positively for oil and gas. So this is what created the interest in the first place in regards to JVing on this particular property. The Guerra number 2, those estimates were between 100,000 and 150,000 barrels of oil. This was also disclosed in that PR, and also 1.5 billion cubic feet to 2.5 billion cubic feet of natural gas. That was the first well. The second well mentioned, again, is the Garcia number 2, and that was averaging 1 million cubic feet of gas per day. So they broke it into daily, or the daily production, and producing an average of 39 barrels of oil per day. So those were the two wells that were specifically mentioned in that PR, and also that they had gone with a joint venture. The next PR was on February 24th, and this was to announce the drilling timeline of this particular property. Again, it's the Northwest Fremont, and this is the one located in Texas, and that's for their JV of this particular property. The first well to be drilled will be the Guerra number 3. And what they wanted to highlight was the fact that it was permitted to drill a total depth of 5,000 feet. They also made a prediction that this would take approximately 30 days to do. The drilling that they would hope to do would begin on or around March 15th. That was their projected date for the start of the drilling for the testing. The plan is that they have 20 wells that will be drilled and tested. So again, the disclosure in this press release was to update people on this particular JV, to look at the particular wells that they're going to be drilling. The amount of wells that they'll be drilling would be 20, and then the estimated time frame on the Guerra number 3 well, which would have taken somewhere around 30 days, and they were hoping to do this on March 15th. The next PR, which was just a few days later, and again, what they really did was, you'll see that the last 3 press releases of the company were to really focus on the Fremont field and to give shareholders total transparency in regards to updates on this property and the timeline of the drilling efforts. Okay, so you'll see on February 27th that they wanted to elaborate more on that drilling timeline. They again talked about the fact that there would be a total of 20 wells. They were going to break it down into 2 phases. The first phase was going to be 1A, and the second phase would be 1B. In phase 1A, they were going to have 15 wells drilled. In phase 1B, they were going to include 5 wells to be drilled. So again, it's just getting in more detail for shareholders to understand what's been going on and what their next step would be on this property. They talk more in depth of the stages and the way in which the drilling will be managed. So they got really specific in that area. A couple days later, the very last press release was issued on February 29th, and this was in regards to phase 1A, the first phase, and that they wanted to reiterate that they would begin drilling on March 15th. So it does seem a little redundant, but it looks almost like they wanted to just keep shareholders informed every step of the way. And you can almost see the excitement in what's been going on in this property in regards to the actual drilling and the permitting and everything coming together. So they wanted to also cover phase 1B, which is the second phase of the project, in more detail in this press release, and that was focusing on the 5 wells in phase 1B. They wanted to let shareholders know that 2 of those wells would be drilled for production along the top of the reservoir, One would be re-entered for production near the top of the structure, and then the additional 2 wells were going to be used for pressure maintenance. And that pretty much wraps up the recent press releases and activity with the company. The last thing I wanted to mention was that they had a release of a 10Q for the quarterly period ending on December 31st, 2011, and that was issued on February 9th, 2012. Some of the things that, people are definitely interested in is to see, how much money they're spending on the exploratory phase of their business. You could see detailed information on that. Also, more importantly, I know that a lot of shareholders are concerned with how many shares are being issued of common stock in regards to some of this, the stuff that has to get done in order to move forward on these properties, the 3 that were mentioned in particular that we talked about in regards to the website, as well as the recent press releases. So you'll see extensively listed on the 10Q those shares that were used or issued for certain expenses. One that was issued on August 18th was for a consulting fee. They issued 500,000 shares, and that expense was $15,000. They had recorded it as $15,000. Between August 29th and September 21st, they had common shares issued. I believe it was to the tune of $9,406,000, and that was a conversion of debt to stock in regards to what they specifically disclosed as Asher agreement, and that debt that was offset was about $179,000. Again, some other things that there was between the dates of November 28th through December 8th, there was another 11.2 million common shares that were issued for the conversion of debt to stock. That again was pursuant to this Asher agreement, and what they had offset was about $55,000 of debt with that. December 2nd, 12 million shares, and those were issued as, those were listed as consulting expenses, and that was recorded at about $96,000. So, those are some of the things that were going on. Also, you could see that in the 10Q, they talk about the agreements specifically for Mr. De Herrera and Mr. Powell, compensation, that kind of thing. So, there is some really good information. However, there's a lot of great stuff in regards to the progress that's being made on the properties, and also with regards to the recent press releases, specifically the newest one, which we talked about, is the Northwest Fremont field property located in Texas. And that's pretty much all I have. I just wanted to give an overview of the company, some of the most recent updates, and I believe that I could kick that over to Siffy for the chart.
Yeah, good stuff
all
there,
right.
Judy Cal.
Thanks.
Like what you had to say about that. It gets me excited. The chart, it's got a lot of real positive things going on it. I mean, there's some overbought things, but let's check it out. We're going to look at it daily, and the first thing that catches my eye is when we came off that 0062 in February, at the end of February there, where you found your little dip and then she started to rip again, and you crossed back up through that 50 and that 20 MA, just like you did at the beginning of 2012 when that 0059. Very, very bullish when that happened. Sumo talked about it last night. Now you got that 20 and that 50 working up together, going parallel. You got the actual tape going through at 0024, moving through that 200 MA or the 150 MA, the smoother, which is at 017, and a lot of volume. It's a big candle right there, so they definitely pushed it all day. You got that 200 MA up there at 034, and you look where it kind of fell off the cliff back in April, May at 07. So you got, right now you get through that 245, then you got 35, you got 05, 06, 07, move on up the line. You come on up to the CMF, the money flow, you're just about ready to pass through that 50 MA. You know how I love to throw those 50 MAs on just about any indicator or oscillator. You can't beat it. It really works well. And you can look back when it went through it to the downside back in August. It's kind of when it really started tanking. And when it came back up through it, right there in December, that's your bottom, and that was confirmed with the CMF coming through. And that's just about to do that again. You got your PPO. You've had positive divergence going all the way back to September. Got to love the positive divergence. That, again, came down. It's crossed through that 50 MA, came down, touched it, and now it's heading back up north. You got your RSI. It's a little high. It's at 81. That doesn't mean nothing. We know everything can run overbought, just like things can run oversold when they're in that power zone. But at least it's not, lower. I mean, I'd rather see it higher when something's looking strong like this. So that's good. Your accumulation distribution, again, it's back through that 50 MA, and it's got a real strong point up towards the north. So it looks like they've definitely been sucking it up here. Then you got your ultimate oscillator. Again, it's crossed through that 50 MA, and, I'm going to put a video up on this chart tonight, and you'll see what I'm talking about a little more. I know it's kind of hard to see it if I'm just saying it, but when you look back on the chart, just about any chart, I don't care if it's penny or a big board, whatever it is, this works, just these little things. Your slow stow, it's a little high itself, too. It's up there at about 83.90 on the K and 78.75, so a little high. You got that 50 MA around 50, so it's rocking. It looks strong. Everything's looking good on it. I definitely would be careful of it breaking back below that 150, because you can look at the chart and see what it does when it can't do that. This is only the second time it's backing back above it since it really fell off the cliff all the way up at 99 cents, where it's back above that 150. It tried it in May, didn't do it, and it tried it again in June, couldn't do it, and we saw the consequences of it. So keep your eye on that. That's definitely big support there at 1.7 in my opinion. That's the chart.
Fantastic work there, Siffy. Miss QT Cal, very well done. Very well done.
Thank you.
We're going to take a small commercial break here, and we'll be back. That was the OTC. I'm sorry, Cop, did you have something to add?
Oh no, that was really good. I mean, that's really good. I mean, I was looking at this, the pieces of the company. There's some pieces there that are like they've been waiting for this time frame to be drilling. I mean, there's some. I mean, the dollar amount that they're talking about to where you're able to pull, what is it, $20 million a month? Is that what you came up with? I mean, that's a lot. When I like when companies do PRs and they're doing a string. We saw how many PRs came out in the month of February, right? So there's a string of PRs, which means they're bringing some form of awareness to the company. From where it was. I mean, it hit that low bottom as Siffy was talking about, and has been driving, of course, for the last few weeks. So the interest is definitely there. But in the PR, the last one, I think, the one on the 24th, where they define exactly what it is, how it is, where it is that's pretty good. And with forecasting dollar figures of what they anticipate based off the geologist report and those type of things. That's very powerful stuff.
It's looking nice over there. Okay, that was our OTC stock spotlight for tonight. We're going to take a small commercial break, and we'll be back with our big board stock spotlight with Sifikia. We'll be right back after these words.
And now a quick word from thepennyvin.com. What does one penny say to the other penny? Let's get together and make some sense. Are you tired of losing your hard-earned pennies? Be sure to visit thepennyvin.com and download our iPhone app, where delivery of our stock plays right into your iPhone instantly. The time to start making money is now. Please be advised that you may make use of the money, and that thepennyvin.com will not be held liable.
PennyChatterStocks.com, where our network becomes your game. There is no need for 6 or 7 sites to track your penny stock funds. You've got chat, forums, blogs. You can integrate your Twitter, Facebook, Google+, MailChimp emailers all on one site so that your following comes with you. All it comes down to is the network, www.pennychatterstocks.com.
Welcome back to Stock Traders Talk Radio. I am your host, STT. Joining me on tonight's program, I have Cop, QT Cal, and Sifikia. Did everybody make it back from the break with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That is always a good thing. Always a good thing. All right, next up on the show, we're going to move over to the big boards and a big board stock spotlight with Sifikia. Sifi, take it away, sir.
All right. Gonna switch it up on you here, boss.
No switching it up on me here, boss.
I'm gonna go with just some scanners that I've been looking at. The spotlight, there's just so much going on. I couldn't get it down to one. You know what I'm saying?
All right, run with it.
Okay. So what I want to look at is, I keep telling everybody and their mother and brother about Verizon until Mike kind of had to throw a wrench in my wheel here the day. I don't know what was up with that, man. I'm so excited about Verizon, but let's forget about Verizon. Let's just look at dividends, shall we? I want to run a little. I got my scanner up here. It's a Trade Monster. It's one of my platforms that I use. I really like them merely based on some of the scans they got. It's called Live Action, and they've just got some unbelievable stuff on here. It blows my mind. So let's go to one of the ones that I really like, and it's their best dividend scores. Okay, and the top of this list, and basically what this is it's based on a fundamental report card they put together, and I'm just going to give you the top 5 because this is just a part of what I'm looking at here tonight. And the top of that is Wynn Resorts, WYNN, and you got Telefonica ADR representing, that's TEF. You got Garmin, GRMN. You got Lockheed Martin, LMT. You got Fifth Street Finance, that's FSC, all right? So those are all A pluses, boys and girls, so whatever that means. But what I want to look at now, I'm just kind of going down through this. And so now let's look at the best analyst dividend growing on here. So, and basically this is with growing dividends and payout ratios of 100%. With high yields. All right, guys, that's what this scan. And at the top of this, we got Ship Finance, SFL. They got a 11.6% dividend yield. We got PNNT, that's Pennant Park Investment. They got a 9.9% dividend yield. We got PBI, Pitney Bowes, 8.3. CLNY, Colony Financial, 8.0. KFN, KKR Financial, 7.5. And let's see if there's anything down here. And then, you got your MOs, the Altria, MO, 5.3, all those ones. But let's get to something a little more juicy here, guys. Let's go down and let's see what kind of – I know last night I gave it a quick what was coming up. But let's look at some upcoming dividend payments in the next 5 days. One more time here. We have got TAL, International Group, TAL. You got Home Depot, HD. And these are X dates on the 6th. What else do we got here that's hot? You got Big 5 Sporting Goods, BGFV, and that's not paying a very big one. The biggest one you got here is CME Group. It's trading at 281, but they got an X date on March 7th. That's paying a $3 dividend. And we all know, guys, how the X dividend date works, just in case you don't, because I just ran into this today with my buddy that picked up some dividends, and he bought it today, which was the ex-dividend date, and was wondering why it gapped down. Well, on the ex-dividend date, you no longer are involved in that dividend, and it's gapping down because that's what all dividends do. Whatever they're paying out on the ex-dividend date, it drops that exact amount. Therefore, whoever was in it before that ex-dividend now can enter, and that way you can't, do the math. They got to do that for a reason, right? If they gave you the dividend and then you sold the next day, everybody buy the dividend, right? And they're giving you the dividend to keep you in the stock. So the ex-dividend date is very important. That's the date you got to be in your ticker to receive your dividend on the receivable date. All right. So what else do we got here? We got Reynolds American. That's March 7th. Trying to move up to some March 7th here. see, where's a big payer at? You got WellPoint, WLP. That's March 7th as well. Let's see what else. These aren't that juicy here. Let's see. Well, I guess they're not giving me that many tonight. I know what we can look at here, guys. I know options are hot, so let's look at some unusual call volume. At the top of the list, we've all seen these biopharmaceuticals going crazy. We got Kirk's. It's got a 2,082% difference, and this is call volume relative to average. Then you got Liz Claiborne. It's cracking 2,000% difference. Then you got Home Depot, Campbell's Soup, Pandora Media, that's P. Campbell's Soup is CPB, BioCrisp Pharmaceuticals, BCRX. You got GameStop, GME. You got iShares Gold, IAU. Asiana Flow Linkage, ASIA. So let's see, let's take this a little bit farther in. Let's see, where's the call speculation? And this is going to be the symbols with the highest out-of-the-money call volume on the offer relative to the open interest. All right, guys? And at the top, we've got Omni Vision Technologies, and that's ticker OVTI. That's got a 742% difference going on right now. Second, you got ProShares Ultra Short, SPXU. No surprise there that there's some call speculation, people looking for that pullback. In third place, you got ProShares Ultra Short QQQ. That's ticker symbol SQQQ. Again, people looking for that pullback, and those are both cracking. And you got Lender Processing Services, LPS. You got Agnico Eagle Mines, ticker AEM. You got Exco Resources, XCO, Forint Ordinary Shares, FTNT, Autodesk, ADSK. I mean, the list is long. I'm going to put all these up into the iBox, not the iBox, but just on our board tonight, the list of them, because there's about 50 on every single one of these. I was just trying to find the ones that are at the very top, guys. So now that we looked at the call speculation, let's look at the put speculation. And, guys, you got to remember, too, when you're looking at these, sometimes you'll see on the scanner, wait a minute, that's the same ticker on the call and the put. Well, you know how these guys are doing it. They're either selling puts or they're selling calls or they're buying them. And sometimes you'll see, like today, me and my friend were looking at it, and we were looking. There was huge volume on the SPY. The SPY always leads the SPYs and the Qs. And there was huge money on the puts, huge money on the calls. I'm talking like 20,000 contracts at the 110 strike, and way out of the money. So a lot of speculation, and you got to ask yourself: are they buying those, or are they selling those? Are they selling those and taking the premium and saying, "Hey, I'll enter at 110," or vice versa on the call? Are they selling way out of the money and saying, "Hey, I'm taking that premium. It's a covered call against a large position." These guys, that's what they do. So on the put speculation, guys, same thing. Highest out of the money put volume on the offer relative to open interest. We got at the top Western Digital, WDC. Then you got the SPDR S&P Retail ETF, XRT. No surprise there. That's been a sector that's been on fire. Then you got Williams Sonoma, WSM. I definitely want to get that one on my radar because my mom's on the mainland right now, and she just actually mentioned to me about how she really likes the Williams-Sonoma store. How's the stock trade? So it's on there. It's deja vu. Deutsche Bank, DB, Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS, LinkedIn, LNKD. No surprise there, man. Got back to 86. Unbelievable. Quicksilver Resources, KWK. ProShares Ultra S&P ETF. Listen, ticker SSO. It's clear that people are looking for a pullback because this is the put speculation, and there's your TNA, your Dirixion Daily Small Cap Bull. So you got your NDX, your NASDAQ 100 Index. So I'm going to throw this up here tonight, guys. I think you'll get a kick out of some of the stuff that's on here. Throw out a couple more here, and then I'm going to hand it off to Cop. He's got some good stuff for us coming up here. Let's look at what's trading at a 52-week low, guys, because there's not a lot, but let's throw it out there. Patriot Coal. All the coal names got beat up today. You had China cutting their growth in half. You had natural gas getting pounded. Energy all around just got hammered. Coal just got taken out back. So PCX, Patriot Coal, 52-week low. It lost 7% today. First Solar, FSLR, that thing is just a freaking beast. It was down 6%. You got Polypore International, PPO, and like we said, UNG, United States Natural Gas ETF. It's at a 52-week low, and they must have done a split on that because that thing's at 1872. I remember it was at 9 last time I looked at it. Then you've got Cemetery Medical, SMA. You got Lamb Gold Ordinary Shares, IAG. What else have we got in here that's looking high? There's a bunch on there. You got Overstock.com, OSTK. Let's see what we got on our quick extended hours big movers, guys. At the top of that list, you can use this scan to look what maybe is going to go crazy the next day. You got DSS changing 30%. Document security systems after the close. You got SBSA, Spanish Broadcasting System, up 16% after the close. So those are your two biggest winners. And then you've got NTRI, Nutrisystems, giving it all back. They were kicking butt today, but looks like they gave it back after hours. You got Quanex Building Products, NX. That's down 10%. And then you got Rentec Nitrogen Partners, RNF. That's up 8%. Monster Worldwide, guys. We talked about that one the other day. MWW, that's up 7%. So Skull Candy, guys, that's one I actually was really debating on doing the spotlight on just because every surf magazine you pick up, and maybe it's the same in pop, teen, music, whatever. I look at surf magazines all the time because I'm a surfer, and they're in all of them, and they got all the pros going, and they IPO'd last year. Well, anyways, they got their ass handed to them after the close. They're down 6%. So whatever happened there, that's SKUL. I heard they got great, it's like earphones and, music stuff. But anyways, guys, that's just what I wanted to throw out there tonight. I know it's a little scattered. I'll try to get it together on my post so it makes a little more sense. Hope you enjoyed. I'm looking forward to COP. Mahalo.
Very, very, very interesting on the analogy, getting their ass handed to them. Is that a new scanner or something?
Why you don't say that down in Floridania?
I mean, this goes along with one of our most famous quotes. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're ready.
Here we go. One of our most famous quotes.
You gotta be kidding me. Who the hell told us to buy that piece of shit?
Yay!
Oh, I can hear that.
We're going to live that one down.
And it'll never get
Oh, my.
Oh, that's right. Never get
We're going to market that as a ringtone.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Ringtone.
That one never gets old.
Wow.
I gave a big shout-out this morning on this morning's show to QT Cow. QT, did you enjoy my shout-out to you?
Oh, my
Honestly,
goodness.
let me know what you thought of that.
That was great.
You like that?
Yeah.
You can get upset?
No, absolutely not. That was hilarious.
That's good. Okay. I didn't want you to feel left out.
Aw, thanks, Mike.
And you're welcome to join the morning show anytime you're up here.
Oh, definitely. After one cup of coffee, though.
All right, let's move on over to Mr. Kopp, who is out on location. So I'm sure it's a little bit more difficult for him, but he's a professional, and I shall throw it over to him for Kopp's Corner. Mr. Kopp, take it away, sir.
All right, thanks, Mike. It's actually pretty easy. You guys are doing all the work and giving me all the material, so content's simple. Big thing. We've talked a lot about the different picks and certain things that we've been dropping on the board on iHub. And quite frankly, I think we have maybe 40, 100% gainers over the course of since that board was created. And we nailed about 5 more in the last 2 weeks, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if we can keep up that pace, but I want to give you some tips and tricks of how I do certain things with getting my picks and those type of things. I'll never give you all my secrets, but I'll give you pieces of it. The Momo's breakout board on iHub is one of the ones that I use in a lot of ways. I believe it's very important to follow a lot of key players that are active in the OTC, and there's a bunch of them. And on this board, they have many of them, right? Momo, I like BB Stocks, Cube 3, Balamitis, AMA 33, Cyclone, and Be Rich. These guys have been around for a very, very long time and know their game. Momo describes exactly what it is. There's a lot of different type of players as far as how people play the market. And you have to figure out what type of player you are. I mean, that's just as simple as it is. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It just has to be your way. And that's based off of what you can do from a time perspective. If you're a person that wakes up every day and goes to work and somewhere during the day buys a stock and then walks away from the computer and then comes back 3 days later, then you're an investor. And the OTC is probably not the place where you need to be. If you're, or you could even be a swing trader, depending on how what your range was that you're doing. Now, there is some situations where you can be in that trade like that, to where you just play and this is something I used to do as well. I just picked 3 stocks and I tracked 3 stocks over and over again every single day. Still to this day, I check those 3 stocks because I know where their bottoms are, I know where they top out, I know where the middle is, and I ride the channel. As soon as they hit my bottom, I buy them, and I walk away, and I say, and I'll set my sells immediately. I mean, same time. A lot of people don't do that, to where they buy them and then they'll just go with it. I am very avid on the fact that if I buy a quad stock, and I love quad stocks, if I buy a quad stock at 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there, I will guarantee you half my position is at 100% with a sell pretty much immediately. I mean, it's just, unless it's a play that I'm really dedicated to and going from along. I'm talking from a Momo perspective. All right, so you have to figure out what type of player you are. Now, this is Momo, all right, and momentum, meaning they're looking for money flow, they're looking for runners, they're jumping on the runners, and they're jumping out, right? There's no investing to this. It is you're riding the cash and you're going where it is. It's quick, it's fast, and in most cases you want to be a day trader, or at least understand 3-day cycle and how some of these things work. And then you sell at the top, or try to wait for the next dip and valley, and then do it again. Long ago, we used to do a lot of tracking of PRs versus peaks and valleys of a trend, and you can get it. There's always a leg 1, always a leg 2, and it just depends on how skilled the company is at selling stock. It's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to promoters run into a play and they're promoting it and they're creating awareness and all of that. And, they sucked, or whatever the case may be, because the stock went down to, 20%, 50%, whatever the case may be. That's not always the case. What it has to be is, when companies are selling stock to raise capital, or a third party in most cases, they have to know what they're doing. And if if the bid support doesn't support it, then, you back off and you let it come. So that's, each play is very, very different with how that goes. And you'll know who those companies are pretty quick when you're watching it, because the market makers that end up on the ask. BFN is a very common one. Every once in a while, there's many tips and tricks to the whole thing. And people that do this all the time know them. Okay, so when you see VFN and all that, don't automatically assume that it's dilution. It could be me. I mean, there's a lot of different types of accounts you can have where you can use multiple market makers and a lot of different things like that. So just come up with the educated guess with it. But back to Momo's breakout board. Following these guys and seeing what they do and how they do it will teach you a lot of stuff. Now, over the past, we went to the Money 101 board, went to the band scan stuff, gave you some, what not to do, things to do, and those type of things. So I would pretty much call this a sequence where I'm picking a type of trading. What he has in the iBox is a very robust list of resources. most of those resources in there I use all the time. Stuff like a show list, deck drop, 1512G filings. And there's a lot of these different lists running around as far as different links where you can go to be able to get something. And there's lots of it. So each one of these links that are in here, for those of you that have access to iHub and are listening, that's Momo's breakout board, iBox, and what he has is numerous links that are in there to, business news portal, charts, different types. There's lots and lots of stuff in here, of which I probably use about half of it, depending on the type of play that I'm doing. If it's a quad running Momo stock, something that's 0.0003, I really don't care about the chart ever. I really don't. Now, when I'm looking for something that's higher, in a higher range, and it could be 0.0010 to 0.0030, I start looking at the chart, but I'm more looking for trend and pattern, just to see a quick indication of what I'm looking for. And normally that's going to be volume, that's going to set off the scanners, and money flow, as well as the CMF. Those are the key things I look for. Why I don't like charts so much is on any given day, a person with cash can change everything. And they can make, there's a lot of people that have been doing this game for a long time that can pretty much make a chart look any way they want. We know many of them, and they do. And, they set it up to where there's a beautiful golden cross happening, the whole 9 yards. Next thing you know, then the buzz increases. She screams and does a rocket and comes right back down because that was the ability to sell all those shares. That's the reality to it. I'm a big fan of slow staircase, eat the volume, establish new support, and higher lows and higher highs. And that's my big thing with it. But the other links that are on here, you got the Eye on the FDA is really good. The Forms 4 filing, which is SEC form site. DD Amanda, of course. Even they know DD Amanda. And Investopedia. Investopedia has become, back when it started, it was, pretty generic, but it has a lot of stuff now, and it is just pretty much loaded. Now, the one thing I'd like to also point out with this is on iHub, and I'm not trying to take you away from iHub or anything like that. iHub can't create every possible different thing that they have. But on the more tools section of what you have is you'll have a whole bunch of things where it says, stock screeners, news filters, live charts, and a whole bunch of things. But there's also something that a lot of people don't use, which is the educational channel. And it has a lot of stuff, as well as the data tools and those stuff. It just depends on what type of trader you want to become. And it takes a long time to figure that out. You can't just walk up and today's the first day in the OTC and you're going to say you're a Momo player. You're going to be the first guy to give away a little bit of cash, and then you'll learn over time. And those are expensive lessons for many. So I highly recommend doing some form of paper trading beforehand, or just trade off to the side and watch what's going on. When you see something with L2 and you're tracking a different stock, write down what you would have bought it at, and then monitor it what you can, and then go back and see when you would have sold it at, or set your targets, and then then reanalyze whether or not your decision-making process was right. If it was, which is rare, then keep building on that. If it's wrong and your decision-making process, you would have lost money, or you waited too long, or you didn't sell at the right time, okay, figure out what you did wrong. Analyze exactly that trade. Plan your exit. Plan the trade. Every single stock that you buy, there should always be some form of entire plan before you even hit the enter key to buy. And a lot of people don't do this, and they find out later that, oh man, that volume was this, or somebody else was promoting it, and or that some piece of news was already out, and you just jumped on the running train. Jumping on the running train is not always very, very smart, because you could be the guy buying it at the top, and that's kind of what you want to prevent, right? It's real easy to sit there and say that to say the terms buy low, sell high. I mean that's ridiculous. I mean, that's like saying breathe air. It's just very, very difficult to do because, one, you don't know what the high is and you don't know what the low is based off the variables that are happening. You know, we did that whole piece on the OTC matrix that covered a lot of things with that, and we'll build on that as time goes by. But I just want to introduce you to Momo's breakout board. A lot of good stuff, and those guys that are on it are pulling big hitters. And if you notice, look at the post just from today, every runner is on that board. And not saying it was created there. They're not the guys creating the Momo, but they're working the Momo. And they're, you know, when they run to it, other people follow, and it creates more Momo. So with that said, that's all I have.
Very nice. Momo's board. Very, very nice. All right, guys. We have only a couple minutes left in tonight's show, unfortunately. I did want to run through what was buzzing on iHub, but I don't think I'm going to have enough time to take a look at everything. I just want to mention a few tickers real quick. UPZS was a nice play today. UNDR worked out real well. KNOS was a nice one. Mentioned so far all of those were mentioned on the morning show. IRBL was mentioned on last night's show by Mr. Kopp, I believe. Right? Was an IRBL one?
It was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the play I thought I picked last night. Yeah. That one's got some serious legs. There's some magic going on there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And there's a lot of gray area with the play and knowing what's going on. But you guys know how I play them. If the money's flowing there and there's no PRs and there's nothing going on, it's setting up. That's what it's doing.
Oh yeah.
Follow the money. Also,
HRTE had a good day today. FRHV, I'll give that shout out to Mr. Haas. And also, we spoke about this play this morning. CBIS had a nice solid day today. Once again, come check us out in the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We air till about 10:30 in the morning, covering all the news, what's hot, what's going on. We're reading L2s, charts, all that good stuff. Also, Monday through Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you have our CEO interviews and our stock spotlights. From all of us here at Stock Traders Talk Radio, to all of you out there in Stock Traders Talk Radio land, we are wishing you the best in all your trades, and may your portfolio always be green. This is Stock Traders Talk Radio, and we are out.
Aloha.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled are commonly considered to be high risk, and use of the information provided is at the investor's sole risk. Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio.